The book of Revelation is the revelation of Jesus Christ. It's the unveiling of His final plan. History has been the canvas for the great painter of history to paint His story. From the opening canvas where God reveals a creation that is pure, clean, transparent, a world with no shame, with no guilt, with no suffering. To the rebellion, where His masterpiece was mauled by the darkness of sin. God could have thrown the painting out, but He didn't. Instead, He carefully dipped His brush into the colors of differing human partners to paint His picture of redemption and deliverance. He chose differing personalities and colors. He dipped His brush into the yellow fear of Gideon and even Abram. He painted with a lot of brown deserts. He used green pastures, the hue of orange glow of peace of His creation. He used the multicolored coat of Joseph. He later used the red-hot anger of Moses, but paints his life with the color of humility. He uses judges, priests, and prophets. His canvas includes kings and pagan empires and broken brushes. The painter will then enter the painting. He will take on the darkness. He will paint himself into the canvas. It is here we see the severity of human suffering. It is here we watch the colors swirl into the face of a love so powerful, a love so passionate, that God chooses to restore His masterpiece by dying for it. Upon an old rugged cross, the painter dies. Colors are dark. The story seems dim. The restoration seems hopeless. The joy has faded. What about the promises of renewal? Was no one worthy to restore God's once perfect masterpiece? Is there no artist, no painter with enough color, with enough power, with enough artistry to undo what's been done? But when all hope seems gone, when all the brushes have seemingly faded, it is then that the artist does his most spectacular work. A light is seen. A light pierces through the darkness and shines upon the newfound texture of His love. Instead of eliminating the pain and rebellion, He uses its colors to paint a newfound masterpiece. He took on death. He took on betrayal. He walked in our shoes. He faced our temptations. He lived among us. And now in His hands, is it a brush? Is it a new color? Yes, yes, the color of victory. The colors forged in the furnace of pain and agony. But it's not a brush in His hands. It's keys. Keys. He holds in His hands the keys to death itself. He went into the dungeons of death to steal the keys. He painted Himself into the worst of the worst moments and emotions of human suffering into life's greatest fear. He took on the worst of spiritual forces. He overcame the worst the world could put upon Him. He came out a conqueror, a king. He came forth from the grave as the victorious lamb, and now He reveals Himself as the mighty lion. The Lion of Judah has come to fix all that is broken once and for all, to restore the clarity of joy, the transparency of honesty, and place us all back in the painting that He envisioned. Only now, the colors are bolder. The story is more glorious. At the revelation of Jesus, we discover a God who uses the colors of history to invite men and women into His story. Fellow painters with Him, fellow artisans passing on the colors of forgiveness, the boldness of His truth, and painting with the brushes of joy. See, the story was not about you. It wasn't about me. The story was all about the painter, all about his canvas, all about his glory, how he got all of us who would receive him back on track. In Jesus' name, amen.